Echeverry.
Hi, I'm Sue.
Hi, I'm Tabitha.
Hi, I'm David.
Daniel.
Hi, I'm Hillary Turner. I'd like to thank you all for being here today. I'm going to talk to you about why I believe killer whales should not be kept in captivity. When I was 12 years old, I went to SeaWorld and saw Shamu in the killer whale show. And like millions of others who have visited SeaWorld in the 41 years since it opened, I was absolutely fascinated by the majestic animals. But even though seeing them was an awe-inspiring experience, it was also a heartbreaking one. Seeing these large, beautiful creatures in tanks that could in no way compare to the ocean these animals were meant to live in opened my eyes to an entertainment business that makes millions upon millions of dollars exploiting these animals and forcing them to perform for our pleasure. Since then, I've watched many documentaries and have read many articles in search of the truth about whether or not keeping killer whales in captivity is harmful to them. And this is what I've learned. The killer whale is a highly social animal that in the wild lives in a group that can range anywhere from 2 to 15 whales together. Wild killer whale families, or pods, have very strong bonds and work together as a team to catch their food and survive. Aggression or violent behavior towards their own family members and other pods is rare in the wild. Captive killer whales, however, suffer from poor pod structure and due to the fact that the whales are rotated and move between parks throughout the world. The strong family bonds are not there, and this can lead to hierarchical upset and extreme aggression that is often exasperated by the small living enclosures. It is not uncommon for a killer whale in captivity to have teeth scrapings or even open wounds caused by attacks from the whales that they share their kinks with. And although there's never been a reported instance of a killer whale attacking a human in the wild, captive orcas have killed 4 people and attacked or injured dozens of others. The killer whales in the wild have shown no signs of aggression towards the research groups and marine biologists who have come in close contact with them. But in the wild, killer whales swim around 100 miles a day, and captive killer whales will often exhibit stress behaviors due to boredom and mental upset caused by being in such small confines. Killer whales in captivity have been observed displaying this frustration by biting the metal on the gates, by floating on the surface for hours at a time. They've even been seen banging their heads on the walls of the tanks. So it's not surprising. It's not surprising then that some of their aggression and frustrations would end up being taken out on the trainers who most often end up loving the whales that they work with. But the danger of attacks or injury from the whales is a much smaller problem than the high mortality rate of the killer whales who live short lives in captivity. The life expectancy of a killer whale is shortened exponentially. While amusement parks like SeaWorld claim that killer whales only live 20 to 35 years, according to Cetacean Inspiration, this claim is not backed by actual research. Dr. Andrew Foote and Dr. Hale Whitehead of the Natural History Museum actually estimate that the killer whales in the wild can live anywhere from 65 to 90 years. Currently, of the 144 killer whales that have been captured since 1961, 125 of them have died.
Wow.
Marine parks claim that without the killer whales in captivity, we wouldn't be able to study the animals, and that the whales actually benefit by us keeping them in captivity, where their family structure is torn apart and their lives are cut short. I've come to the conclusion that the facts point us to the truth that killer whales should not be kept in captivity, research teams can and have been successful researching them in their natural habitat while they are left to live their natural life in the wild. The behaviors of killer whales in captivity and in the wild have been proven to be vastly different. The money being spent on keeping them in small tanks and training them to do tricks should be spent on researching the animals in their natural habitat, displaying their natural behaviors. And to this conclusion, I'd like to leave you with quotes from two famous men. Jacques Cousteau once said, "There is about as much educational benefit to be gained in studying orcas in captivity as there would be studying mankind by only observing those prisoners held in solitary confinement." And Abraham Lincoln once said that those who deny freedom to others do not deserve it for themselves.